welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be starting another reading vlog for you guys. So I'm very excited for the books that I would like to read in this vlog. I feel like for the most part they're all really good kind of transitional books from like late summer into early fall. Look, again, I know it's not fall. I know it's not even close to being fall. We still have like a month and a half, okay? But I do like to start my kind of atmospheric fall reading early. So that's kind of my goal for this video, is to read some books that I think are really good transitional books. So that's what I'm gonna be doing in this video. I'm really excited about all the books that I want to read this week. So let me just go through them. I think I have like 3.5-ish. So first up, I would really like to read Foxglove by Adeline Grace. This is the second book in the is it called the Belladonna series? I'm not sure if this has a series name actually, but it's the book that follows Belladonna. And I read Belladonna a couple of weeks ago and I really enjoyed it, so I've been quite excited to hop into Foxglove. And I do believe Wisteria comes out like towards the end of August as well, and I would like to read that around the time that it comes out, so obviously I would like to read the second book in the series so I can be ready for it. But this is a gothic YA fantasy with a little bit of a romance thrown in there, and I just really liked the first one. It's very atmospheric. I loved the gothic kind of feeling to the story, so I'm hoping that kind of continues in this one. And I believe in this one we're going to the main character Signa's inherited estate that's like on the seaside. So I can definitely get into a gothic seaside kind of vibe. So I'm hoping that's what this gives me. I feel like I'm really gonna like it. And then I have another book, which I don't know exactly why I think this is a good transitional book, but like in my mind, it seems like a good late August book. Like when I think about this book, I'm like, that's an August book, you know? I've definitely said this a couple times before, but I love matching books to specific months, not even just seasons. I love matching books to specific months, and something about this book screams August to me. And I don't know if that's founded in fact or just assumption, but we're gonna find out. And that is Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. This is just a book that I've like vaguely seen around for a really long time, and for whatever reason I was like, I want to read this like this early fall. So I'm honestly not 100% sure what the plot of this book is. I think there's like a family curse or something that our main character's trying to break. I don't know, but it says there's an island rooted in folklore and magic beginning to show signs of strange happenings. So that sounds interesting. I can't wait to read this one. I have no idea what I'm gonna think of this one. I feel like I've seen very mixed reviews on it, just generally, so I'm excited to get into it. And then the other book that I have with me physically is not necessarily a book that I think would be like a great transitional book. I just wanted to read this because recently I rewatched all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies. It was so good, by the way. I had such a good time. Like, obviously they're great. I don't have to tell you that they're great. But I just loved my rewatch so much. The whole time I was like, should I reread The Lord of the Rings? And I kind of want to, but I don't know, because it is kind of a commitment to do that. But for now, I've just decided that something that is Tolkien, but not necessarily Lord of the Rings, will work. And I've had this book on my shelves ever since I got it last year, and I've been wanting to continue it because I have read one of the stories that is in this, but I've never read the other 3, and that is Tales from the Perilous Realm. Also, I just love this edition so much. Obviously that has nothing to do with the contents of the book, but I just love this illustration of this dragon. It's so cool. I think the cover illustration is done by Alan Lee, and it's just so stunning. It's also on the spine. It's so cool. But there are 5 tales in here from Middle-earth, and I have read 1, which is the Rover Random. But there are 4 others in here that I have never read, so I thought it would be kind of fun to maybe read one of them. I'm not sure. Oh, the illustrations are so fun. Well, actually not this one. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't think I like it. But they're still so cool. So I'm thinking I might read a couple stories out of here, which I'm excited about, although I still do want to do a reread of Lord of the Rings. But that's for me to decide later. And then the last book is an audiobook that I'm currently listening to, and that is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I started reading this book in my last vlog. It's like a cozy fantasy where our main character kind of goes to this small island to open a spell shop. And it's been so fun so far. I've just been having a really good time listening to it. I've been crocheting a lot of my blanket while I've been listening to the audiobook for it, so I would kind of like to continue to do that. I have made a lot more squares. I finished The Return of the King yesterday, like watching it, and I made a bunch of squares while I was doing that, although I have not woven in any of the ends, and that is my least favorite part. But I definitely want to do that and attach these to the blanket while I listen to The Spell Shop later, so I thought that would be something fun to do. But aside from that, those are the reading plans. I know it's kind of a lot, but I just want to do a lot of reading right now, so it's okay. So yes, here are my reading plans for the week. I'm really excited about all of these. I don't really have like a ton of other plans aside from just doing a lot of reading. I'm obviously gonna work on my blanket some more, and then I do also want to show you guys my August reading journal setup because I didn't do an August reset. And I'm excited to do that one too because it's gonna be Hollow Knight themed, which I'm so excited about. My lovely friend Mackenzie gave me some really, really cute Hollow Knight stickers, and I have been wanting to do something with them, so I thought it was kind of like another perfect like transitional kind of theme that I could do. Because even though Hollow Knight isn't like scary or anything, it does kind of have like a dark, gloomy vibe to it, which I again think would be perfect for August. Also, if you guys don't know, Hollow Knight is a video game. It's like literally the only game that I have for my Switch. I got it like a year ago and I've been working on it very slowly ever since. But one of these days I'm gonna beat it. I just don't know if that day is any day soon. I'm gonna do that, and then obviously I think I should probably play some Hollow Knight since I'm gonna be like making the journal spread for it. I go through like fits and starts with Hollow Knight. I feel like every now and then it'll be like the only thing I do for like a week straight, and then I just won't touch it for like 2 months. So I feel like maybe I should get back into it so I have just even a sliver of a chance of actually beating the game at some point in time. I don't know. So yes, that is my general plan for the week. I don't really have a lot to do. So hopefully I can do a lot of reading. That's definitely the goal. So I'm thinking, what do I want to start with first? I'm thinking I'm probably going to start with Foxglove. So I'm going to read a little bit of this morning, and then I will chat to you guys later. So it's a little bit later in the morning. I have not made a lot of progress in Foxglove yet. I am on chapter 3, so not super far. But I completely forgot that there's like this new character that was kind of introduced at the end of Belladonna, and I'm quite interested to see what their role in this book is gonna be, because it's just something I never saw coming, but it was like introduced right at the end of Belladonna, and I was like, oh. But like going into this one, I completely forgot about them. So I feel like I'm even more excited to like get into this one and read some more. Also, I think we're gonna get a new point of view in this book, which I'm really excited about, because the entirety of the first book is told from Signa's point of view, which is fine. I like Signa, she's a solid main character. But I just saw that at the beginning of chapter 3, there is kind of a new point of view that we're being introduced to, and it's somebody that's like kind of close to Signa. I would tell you who it is, but I think that would probably be a spoiler. But I'm really excited to jump back into this and get some more from a different perspective. I think that'll be really interesting. And I feel like I kind of have an idea of what's gonna happen with their point of view just based on the first couple lines of their chapter, which I think will just be really, really interesting. So I'm quite excited to read some more of this, but I'm thinking I'm probably gonna stop on that for a little bit because I want to work on my blanket some more. I also wanted to show you guys how big it's getting, just because I'm so excited that it's getting this big. Look at it. Woo! It used to be so small, but now I feel like I can like almost wrap it around my shoulders a little bit, so shh. Sorry, my alarm's going off. So that's quite exciting. We'll make progress with that because I want to like listen to my audiobook for the spell shop this afternoon and like weave in these ends. I hate weaving in ends so much. It's just so annoying, and typically I do it as I go, but this time I did not, and now I just have so much work piling up. but I will be able to like put all of these on, and I'll have another row for my blankets, so that'll be very exciting. So I think I'm gonna spend like the rest of today working on that. I would also like to crochet some more granny squares, so I think I'll probably do that too. I think right now I'm in the mood to do one of like my crafting type hobbies instead of like just sitting and reading, so I'm gonna work on that. And I'm just really excited because I love being able to like sit and listen to an audiobook while I work on one of my favorite hobbies. Although speaking of hobbies, if you guys are also looking for a little hobby that you can do while you listen to an audiobook, might I recommend checking out the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. So thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. If you guys don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community full of thousands of different classes that you can possibly take in so many different subjects that are taught by industry professionals. And it is the perfect place to pick up a new hobby for the summer or improve a skill that you already have, which is, I feel like I'm kind of doing both this time around, because recently I've been wanting to get more into doing like polymer or air dry clay type things. I know a couple weeks ago I showed you guys that little tic-tac-toe board that I made, which is really fun, but I was kind of just winging it the whole time, so I thought it would be fun to kind of check out a class on clay sculpting and kind of learn a bit more about it. So I hopped on Skillshare and I found the perfect class to help me out with that. And that is Polymer Clay Sculpting for Absolute Beginners by I the Crafter. Obviously, this class is perfect for beginners, such as myself. It is very aptly named because it gives you the perfect, succinct, yet very helpful intro on everything you would need to know about polymer clay sculpting. And this class has so many different useful lessons, such as how to pick the right type of clay, what supplies you might need and where to get them, and how to bake and glaze your pieces. This class also has the cutest little project that you can do at the end where you make a mini piece of brownie. And I love that because it's a really good way to kind of like bring together all of the things that you've learned in the class. But if you're not exactly looking to get into anything polymer clay related, they do have so many other different classes that you could possibly check out. There are definitely a couple classes that I want to check out soon, such as this class on how to make a throw pillowcase with an invisible zipper. I feel like this is like basic stuff, but like I've never put a zipper into anything before, and I want to make covers for some of my throw pillows that are more appropriate for autumn, so I'm gonna check this one out. And then I also think this class on illustrated journaling looks really cool as well. But if none of those sound interesting to you, there are definitely so many other classes that you could possibly check out, and summer is kind of the perfect time to join Skillshare and find a new hobby. So if you want to check out Skillshare, I will leave a link to them down in the description, and the first 500 people that click that link will get their first month of Skillshare for free. There's a whole month of potentially finding a new hobby that you could love for free. So thank you so much to Skillshare for supporting me and my channel, and to you guys watching as well for always supporting me and my channel. I appreciate you all so much. So as I said, I'm gonna spend the rest of the afternoon working on my blanket. It's just getting so big. I'm so happy. So yes, I will probably catch up with you guys tomorrow. I think tomorrow morning I want to do my reading journal setup, so I'm going to show you guys that. But hopefully I will also have some reading updates for you tomorrow. But we'll see. So it is, I feel like I'm so far away from the camera right now, but that's okay. It is 2 days later, I think, and I have quite a few updates for you guys because I finished a book, I have continued a book, I've started a book, I went to the library, I worked some more on my blanket, which is very exciting. It's getting so big. I know I said this a couple days ago, but like, it is. Like, every time I add a new row onto it, I'm like, wow, look at the progress. It hardly fits in frame anymore. I'm so excited. But yeah, I worked on this a lot yesterday, and then I also FaceTimed Cass last night, and I crocheted 3 more squares, so the progress doth continue. Let's see, let me talk about maybe the books that I picked up from the library, because I cannot wait for all 3 of these. The first one being a book that I've been wanting to read, anyway, the first one being a book that I have been wanting to read for a really long time, because I keep trying out books from T. Kingfisher, and none of them so far. I mean, there've only been 2. Neither of them have really worked for me. I didn't love them, but I feel like T. Kingfisher writes so many books that have like very different vibes from each other that there is a T. Kingfisher book out there that I will love. And this is one that I've seen a lot of people reading, and I feel like this is the one that I'm probably really gonna like, and that is Nettle and Bone. I honestly don't know anything about this book aside from the fact that we're following kind of like a ragtag group of people here. It says we're following an ex-knight, a reluctant fairy godmother, an enigmatic grave witch, and her foul familiar, which I believe is a chicken. But I'm really excited about this one, and I'm definitely gonna go into it not knowing like too much about it, and I think it's gonna be good. And then I picked up 2 other books from an author that I've been wanting to try out for a really long time. I just like obviously have been waiting for the fall spooky times, you know how it is. And that is Darcy Coates. I know she writes a lot of haunted house type books, which I definitely really want to check out, but she also has this series that I think is, I don't exactly know what it's about, but I think it's like a girl that lives in a cemetery and she can talk to the spirits that are there. I could be really wrong in that definition, but from what I read on the back of the first book at least, that's what I'm thinking this is. And that is the Gravekeeper series, I believe, so I decided to pick up books 1 and 2 because they have them. So we have The Whispering Dead and The Ravenous Dead. I do love the titles of these. Very spooky, very creepy. So I'm really excited about these because I've been wanting to read something from Darcy Coates, and I feel like right now is a really good time for it. I think I want to save these books for like a readathon that I'm gonna do in early to mid-September, and I feel like, I don't know, these books kind of give me like the same kind of scary but not too scary type vibe. I could, again, be wrong in that assumption, but that's what I'm getting from them. So those are the couple books that I picked up from the library, and I'm quite excited about them, so there's that. But as for reading updates, I do have quite a few reading updates for you. The first one being that I finished The Spell Shop while I was working on my blanket, and it was just so much fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and it makes me want to try out more cozy fantasy in the future. Also, reading this book really makes me want to read The Ex-Hex because the audiobooks for The Spell Shop and The Ex-Hex have the same narrator, so it just reminded me of that. And it just reminded me that I get to do my annual reread of The Ex-Hex next month, which I cannot wait for. Not that that has anything to do with The Spell Shop, but like, I just couldn't stop thinking about the Ex-Hex the whole time, you know? Anyway, back to talking about The Spell Shop. I, again, just thoroughly enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the way that the author kind of escalated the action in the book, because it's a cozy fantasy, so there's not like a ton of plot, not a ton of stakes going on. That's kind of the point of cozy fantasy. But I feel like the author did a good job at like kind of raising the stakes a little bit a couple of times throughout the story, but then still kind of de-escalating it in a way to where it never got to be too big, but it wasn't like unsatisfyingly boring, I suppose you would say, because I feel like my main issue with cozy fantasy is that nothing happens. And I know, again, that's the point of cozy fantasy, but I feel like in this one, some things were happening. Some things that like did trouble our characters deeply and like made me like root for them and want them to get out of that situation. And I feel like it helped me to connect with the characters more because I was like wanting something good for them to happen as opposed to just like nothing happening the whole time and me like not feeling anything for them. So I just feel like it was a really good balance between like the cozy moments and the moments where like a little bit of something was happening. I also loved the kind of fantasy elements that were brought into this because obviously you have like the magic that our main character is not supposed to use, which obviously posed a lot of issues for her throughout the story. But aside from just that, I really liked seeing all of the magical beings that were in this world because you kind of have humans in it, but then you have like some, actually I don't exactly know how it works because our main character is blue, so I'm thinking like she's not a human. Or is she just a blue human? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. But there were definitely like a lot of other beings on this world that I thought were really interesting. The small town that our character ends up in has these like winged cats that are just like always out and about in the town, which I thought sounded so cute. I'm pretty sure there's a little winged cat on the cover of the book, which looks just so adorable. I can't get over how beautiful the illustration on the cover of this book is. It's stunning. So I liked that little touch. There were also like these mer horses, I believe, that the kind of love interest in this book raises and cares for, which I thought were cool. There were also mermaids, which normally I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. But like, after reading Into the Drowning Deep, I was like, man, I do not trust these mermaids. Like, they seem fine, but also the voice that the narrator was doing for the mermaid reminded me so much of the way that the narrator for Into the Drowning Deep was like portraying those mermaids. So I was like, girl, you better watch out. Like, do not trust these mermaids. And I also thought the romance in this book was really cute as well. It wasn't like, you know, the forefront, but it was definitely like a subplot going on, and I thought it was really fun. Our main character, Keela, she's a very independent person. She doesn't really like sharing her space. She likes being alone, you know? But they had this whole little moment where he was like, you can be alone with me, and she was like starting to be okay with that. I thought it was so cute. I just really liked the romance. I thought they had such a cute dynamic, and he was just like the nicest person ever, honestly. Like, to her, obviously, and just to people in general. I just thought it was a really fun read, and I enjoyed it a lot. So if you've seen this one around and you want to check it out, I'd recommend. Anyway, I have also, we'll talk about Belladonna, or not Belladonna, Foxglove. We'll talk about Foxglove first. I have made a little bit of progress in this book. I'm now up to page 61, and I'm continuing to enjoy this. I feel like I don't have like a ton more to say about it at the moment, but I'll leave you with those vague thoughts for the time being, that I'm liking it and I've made a little bit of progress. But then I've also started another book in the time since I last talked to you, because I have read the majority of one of the stories out of Tales from the Perilous Realm. I started this last night, and I have been reading The Farmer Giles of Ham, I believe. I think I'm like 15 pages away from the ending of it, maybe. I read the introduction for this book last night, and I thought it was fascinating, honestly, because it talks a lot about Tolkien's view on fairy, like not fairies, like not the little woodland pixie kind of creatures, but like the fairy realm. And that kind of ties into where these stories are set. Like, they're set in the fairy realm, which he also kind of viewed as the perilous realm, where just like fairy tale-esque things were happening, basically. But the first story in here is The Roverandom, which I've already read. It's been a long time since I read it, granted, but I wasn't gonna read it again. So I decided to jump into Farmer Giles of Ham, which is where we're following this farmer who lives in a small little village. And at the beginning of this book, he ends up like scaring off this giant that is posing a threat to the village. And everybody thinks he's like this big hero, and he's just basking in all of the attention that the townspeople are giving him. So when another threat ends up coming to the village in the form of this giant dragon, they're obviously expecting him to do something about it. And he's like, I'm just a farmer, like, what do you want me to do about it? So we're kind of just seeing him as he's being thrust into these situations that he's not exactly prepared for. But I think it's been really fun so far. I love Tolkien's prose. His writing is just so beautiful, and it is, again, making me think that I should reread The Lord of the Rings. So that's definitely looking like something that might be happening in my future, which I'm quite excited about. But I've just been enjoying the story. It's fun. It's nothing like super captivating, but I'm enjoying it. It feels very fairy tale-esque, obviously, and also this I believe the illustration that's on the cover of this book goes along with the Farmer Giles of Ham. Like, there's this little dude with his sword trying to fight off the dragon, so that's really fun. I also just love Alan Lee's illustrations. I just think they're so beautiful. Those are all of the reading updates that I have for you. I feel like this has been quite a long update, so I hope that's fine. Also, yesterday, I did do my August reading journal setup, which I do really like how that turned out. I just think these Hollow Knight stickers are so cute. So again, thank you so much to Mackenzie for sending these to me. But I have these two left, and I want to figure out what to do with them. It is currently 9:30. Definitely want to spend some time this morning reading Tales from the Perilous Realm. I would like to read obviously the rest of Farmer Giles of Ham and The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, which I believe is told in verse, so that'll be kind of interesting. Obviously Tom Bombadil is in At least the Fellowship of the Ring. I don't know if he pops up later. I don't think he does. I don't really remember a lot about him from when I was reading the Fellowship of the Ring. I think I just thought he was kind of ridiculous, honestly. But I'm interested to see what his little short story is like, so I think that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm gonna go read a little bit of Tales from the Perilous Realm, and as for the rest of the day, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I should probably read more of Foxglove, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. New day, but I'm here to give you guys an update on Foxglove because I really want to finish this book up today, but obviously I don't want to wait like 400 pages in between updates for you guys, so I thought I would let you know how I'm feeling about it now so I can go ahead and like finish it up later today. I've made quite a bit of progress. I'm on page 293 now, so I'm like a little bit over halfway through it probably. No, I'm definitely like 2/3 the way through it, really. And I think I'm definitely enjoying it less than I was liking Belladonna. I feel like Belladonna maintained like this just beautiful gothic vibe throughout the entirety of it. And I feel like this book has definitely been focusing on the plot a lot, which definitely like isn't a bad thing. But it just doesn't really feel quite as atmospheric as the first one did, which does make me a little bit sad because I did love the vibe of the first one. Like that's the main reason why I really enjoyed the first one. But this one I feel like just doesn't have it quite as much as it did. However, I just got up to part 2. And for some certain reasons, which I'm not going to obviously tell you what those reasons are, but Signa has moved to her family estate, which is called Foxglove. And I have absolutely loved the scenes of her at Foxglove so far because this mansion has been abandoned for 20 years. After Signa's parents died, it basically just like fell into disrepair. and it's just been inhabited by spirits for the last 20 years, and they are like pissed that Signa has like shown up and has the audacity to come live in her own house. But seeing her interactions with the spirits, I have absolutely loved so far. They're so good. So that's kind of like redeeming it a little bit for me, because the first part of this book is primarily focusing on Signa trying to figure out this murder mystery thing that's going on, which I do think is interesting, and I am somewhat invested in that storyline, but it just hasn't really grabbed my attention quite as much as the first one did, so it's just like plot-wise not my favorite. And there's also this like, I don't know if it's a trope necessarily, but just this thing that I've noticed a lot of primarily young adult books doing, but I think I've read a couple of adult books that kind of use this plot point as well in reference to like things about the main character. That is all I'll leave it at because I don't want to say anything else. But I just dislike this trope, plot point, whatever you exactly want to call it, so much. It irks me to no end because I'm like, it's just so ridiculous, honestly. But it's just a plot point that I have seen happen way too many times recently, and every time I read it, I'm just like, oh, not again. And it kind of ruins my reading experience with the book a little bit. I feel like this one hasn't like used it too extensively yet, and I feel like it is slightly different from how I've seen it done in other books, so I don't dislike it quite as much as I could, but I'm just not happy about it, and we'll leave it at that. But that's kind of where I'm at with Belladonna for the time being. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update before I went off and finished it. I'm definitely still like enjoying it. I feel like I've like said some not great things about it in this update, but I have been liking it because I do really like Signa as our main character. I'm thinking now that we're at Foxglove, I'm really going to enjoy the general ambiance that is going to bring into the book, because like a dilapidated seaside, gothic, spooky house, mansion, whatever it is, absolutely thank you. So I am very excited to get back into this. I have been primarily listening to this on audio because the audiobooks for the series are really good. I feel like the narrator is really putting her all into it, and I'm enjoying it. So I've been listening to the audiobook, and I'll probably continue to do so while I work on my blanket some more. And I'll probably give you guys an update in a few days. Sunday? Maybe Sunday. I think it's supposed to rain on Sunday, and it's gonna be beautiful, honestly. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Hello. We are again joined by a friend. Say hello. You were acting crazy like 3 seconds ago. What happened? She wants to behave while she's on camera, I guess, but we're just gonna put her back over there. Anyway, it is Monday morning. I'm thinking today's probably gonna be the last day of the video. However, I have some things that I would like to talk about, a couple things I would like to do before we say goodbye. I have some reading updates for you because I have finished a book, I've started a book, I have DNF'd part of a book. So we're gonna talk about all of that. I also have another update on my blanket. I'm sorry if you guys are tired of the blanket updates, but like I need something to motivate me to keep going with it. So we'll talk about that as well. First of all, I did finish up Foxglove, which for some reason I keep wanting to call Belladonna, and I don't know why. And I'm pretty sure I have made that mistake at some point in this video. Where are you going? So we'll just casually ignore that if you did notice it. But as for the book, overall, I still just didn't like this one as much as I liked Belladonna. I feel like the plot was somewhat interesting, but I don't think it was quite as gripping as the first one was. Well, I don't know if I would call it gripping necessarily, but it just wasn't quite as attention grabbing as the first one was for me personally. However, I was still enjoying it, but I honestly think my favorite part of this book was when Signa went to Foxglove and you kind of got to see her interacting with all of the spirits there and seeing her kind of grow closer to them and get to know them a little bit more and hear more about what life was like when Signa's parents were living in Foxglove. I really enjoyed. I still thought it was a really nice touch for her to be able to kind of grow closer to them and learn more about her parents from people that knew them firsthand. So I liked that part a lot, and I also just feel like the atmosphere in this book was just the best when she was at Foxglove, because as I said earlier, it is this like dilapidated seaside mansion, and it's kind of like a maze of rooms. It's just like huge and sprawling, and it's filled with ghosts, and I'm like, obviously I was eating that part up. It was so good. As for how this book ended though, I kind of enjoyed it. I feel like there was definitely a way that I was thinking the story was gonna go, and I had a lot of assumptions for what I thought the plot of Wisteria was going to be, and I wasn't into that concept, so I was really hoping it wasn't gonna go that way. And it didn't, thankfully, but the ending of this book definitely threw me for a loop. I feel like they introduced this thing that I really didn't like, and then it kind of fixed it almost in the end, so I was quite happy with that, but I just feel like the way that it did fix it, I'm like, was this set up well? Kind of, maybe? I'm not sure, but I think I liked it. I'm definitely very interested to see where Wisteria is going to take this story, because I feel like everything with Signa kind of feels like it's been wrapped up almost. Like I don't know what more we could possibly do with her story, you know? And I'm thinking that Wisteria is going to kind of shift focus onto a different main character and kind of the predicament that she has gotten herself into, which I am quite intrigued by. Like I am really excited to pick up Wisteria now, because the way that this book ended, definitely like there's a lot of questions that you still have, and I am quite eager to have those questions answered. So I'm very excited to pick up Wisteria. I think it comes out maybe in a couple, like a week or so. I know it comes out sometime in August, so very soon I will definitely be picking up a copy, and I'm probably gonna read it in September. I'm definitely gonna do like another spooky romance video like I've done the last 2 years, so that's obviously kind of perfect to be in the spooky romance video, even though I feel like the way the story is going, it kind of deviates from the like gothicness that is inherently in the story based on who we're following, if that makes sense, but I still think it'll be good. But I have high hopes that Wisteria will be a very solid conclusion to this book, and I will absolutely love it. So we will see, but I just had a good time. I ended up listening to this almost entirely on audio, and I would highly recommend the audiobook. I just feel like her voice fits the like kind of gothic spooky vibe that this series has going on so well. So there's my audiobook review for you. So there's Foxglove. As for the book that I like kind of DNF'd, I wouldn't say I DNF'd this, because I really just DNF'd one of the stories that is in this. And that is the, what is it called? It's the one about Tom Bombadil. The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. I just don't think me and poetry get along, or like me and things written in verse in general get along. I think I read like 15 or so pages out of The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and I was like, it's fun. It's whimsical. Conceptually, I really like it, but I just found myself just kind of getting lost in like what was going on. I was like, I am deriving nothing from this. So I decided to not finish that one up. But I definitely will at some point be reading the last two stories that are in here because I don't think either of them are very long. Yeah, they're like this long. So I will finish those up at some point, but I probably won't finish those up in this vlog. But I did finish up Farmer Giles of Ham. And it was fun. I feel like I don't really have anything else to say about it. However, I have started a book, which I, of course, don't have with me, and I'm running out of room on my SD card right now to talk about it. But I did start Spells for Forgetting. I think I'm about 60 pages into that book, and I'll probably talk about it more in depth in my next little update because I'm running out of space here. But it's been a lot of setup so far in this book, and I am very intrigued to see where things are gonna go. And I can confirm that it is kind of the perfect transitional book for August, even though I believe it is set in October maybe, but it's set on this island in the Pacific Northwest. There are witches, but it's not like too witchy so far, and I really do enjoy witchy stories that are set in like the real world and follow like seemingly normal people. I feel like things that are grounded in reality like that make it seem so much more real. And I'm liking the atmosphere. There's definitely a bit of a mystery because our main character's best friend was killed, murdered. Maybe she just died. I don't exactly know what happens. Nobody really does. And I believe the book is going to focus on figuring out what happened. So very intrigued by everything that's going on in that book so far. Absolutely love the writing. The ambiance is stunning so far, so I'm really glad that I decided to pick it up. I don't think I'm gonna finish that book in this vlog either, but I would like to make some more progress in it, and I am gonna spend a little bit of time this morning reading because I was just really liking what I was reading. Also, it's a beautiful, gloomy day outside. It's like 10 in the morning, but it's very dark outside. And I feel like that is the perfect kind of ambiance for a witchy book like that. So I definitely plan on reading some more of that, and I'll give you a more like substantial update on it in a bit. But as for a couple of things that I did yesterday, obviously I showed you guys my little spread and my Hobonichi. I have been absolutely loving using this thing. I just think it's so fun. Being able to do a little collage that is very indicative of how my week has gone, I just feel like it's a really fun time for me to like sit and reflect on the last week. And I just really been enjoying that, so I will continue to show you guys what I'm doing in this journal. I know a lot of you guys in the comments on my last video said that you really liked seeing it, so I'm so glad that you guys like seeing it. So I will continue to show you those little weekly spreads because I have such a fun time putting them together. But as for my plans for today, I'm thinking I'm definitely going to be reading some more of Spells for Forgetting because I'd really like to get back into that. But I'm also thinking in a little bit I'd like to go yarn shopping because even though I have so much yarn for my blanket, I feel like I'm getting just a wee bit bored of the color combinations that I have. So I'd kind of like to go get a teal color for it. And even though it's crazy, I think I'd like to kind of replace a couple of the squares that I have in here. I just don't know if I'm loving like this pink that's going on here. So like I might cut that out. I have cut a square out already and like replaced it, so I know I can do it. But just like something about the pink is not working for me. So I'm going to get some different yarn so I can like, you know, spice things up a bit because I found out I'm not even halfway done with all of the squares for this blanket, but like I'll go fret about that later. So those are my plans for the morning, reading a little bit of yarn shopping, and then I will chat to you guys later with a better update on Spells for Forgetting. a lot later. It's like 8 p.m. now, I believe, and I've been spending my day reading some of Spells for Forgetting. I worked a little bit on my blanket still. I feel like that's just what I've been saying in every single update, is that I worked more on this blanket, because that's literally all I've been doing this week. But, you know, it's going well. I think I'm up to 81 squares now, maybe, but I did the math a couple days ago, and for the size that I want this to be, I need like 180 squares. So I'm not even halfway there. I'm not even halfway there. But do you want to know the worst thing? The worst thing is that I literally already have my next project planned. Like, I know what I want to do next, even though I'm like not even halfway through this, and I've been working on this for like a month and a half. But I've been watching all of these videos because in the crochet community, there's like this viral 6-day star blanket thing that I've seen a lot of people making, and they are so freaking cute. And I want to make one so badly, and I want to try and make it in 6 days because I think that might be kind of fun. But I'm not going to start another project until I finish this. But I did go to get some more yarn today. I got these 2 colors. Originally, I was going to get just one, but I was like, these look so nice together. So I got these, so I can hopefully add in some, like, I don't know. I was going for teal, but I don't really think either of these could be considered teal. They're like desaturated greens or blues. They're like greeny blue colors, basically. So I have added in 1 square that has one of the greens, and then I crocheted this square, which used both of them in black. So I'm excited to kind of add those into the blanket, and as I said earlier, I am going to be taking some of these squares out and like replacing them with different squares, so I definitely want to like replace them with squares that are this color, so it makes it seem like I've been using that from the beginning. But that is my current plan with my blankets, and I will probably continue to talk about it a lot until I finish it. My goal is to have it done by the first day of fall. That is my current kind of working deadline. So that's like exactly a month. No, it is not exactly a month. It's like a month and 10 days from now. I feel like if I'm going at the rate that I'm going now, I will definitely be able to finish it by then, but I feel like my motivation ebbs and flows with this blanket. Like this week I've really been motivated, but like who knows how next week will go, you know? But anyway, I have spent too much time talking about this blanket in this vlog. So let me give you guys a reading update, because as I said, I've read some of Spells for Forgetting, and I think I'm like halfway through it now. I've made it up to page 161. And now it's time to like actually give you guys some thoughts on it, because I feel like I did not give you guys any good thoughts on it earlier, really. But this book is kind of following 2 main characters, one of them being Emery, the other one being August. And I thought it was really funny because when I first opened this book, the first chapter just says August. And initially I thought that meant it took place in the month of August. I was like, oh my god, this must be why. I think this is a good August book. But as I started reading more, I was like, why is it taking place in October? If like it says it's set in August, but like it's just the name of the kind of male main character that we're following. But I thought that was kind of funny. But this book takes place on an island called Sersha, I believe it is pronounced. And there's a very close-knit community that lives on this island. It's very like small town kind of vibes. Everybody knows everything about everybody. Like they're all up in each other's business, basically, all the time. And our main character, Emery, currently lives there, and she works at a tea shop, I believe, but it's kind of like a witchy sort of tea shop. Like I don't think there's been outright magic as of yet, but there are definitely like some weird things happening. Like for instance, they were kind of thinking they were having a very late autumn because none of the trees had turned yet, and it was like late October, until one night suddenly they woke up and like every single tree was like blazing orange, yellow, that kind of hue, which is obviously kind of weird. So just weird things happen on this island, like weird witchy things happen on this island, you know? Like this island very much gives me the same vibe that what's that book called? The Wicked Deep gives me, like same kind of concept. But this book opens up on us following our main character Emery, who is kind of just going about her life running this tea shop, until one day her old boyfriend kind of comes back onto the island because his mother recently passed away and they used to live on the island, but she wanted to be buried on the island, so like he's back to do that. And he hasn't been back in like 11 years, because 11 years ago something very bad happened to Emery's best friend Lily, and everybody kind of thinks that August was the one that murdered her, basically. So now that he's back on this island, everybody is very like wary of him. They all kind of think he did it, even though they didn't have like ample enough evidence to prove that he did it in like a court of law. So we're kind of watching him deal with that, and we are watching Emery kind of dealing with all of these memories coming back to her now that he is back on the island. And we're kind of going along with her as she is still trying to figure out what happened to Lily because she's not 100% sure still. So I'm quite interested in that. I feel like I'm definitely hooked and I want to figure out what happened to Lily. It's quite an interesting story because it's kind of like a mystery book. It's kind of like maybe a romance book. I don't know if they're gonna get back together, but like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. It's kind of like a witchy book. I feel like it's a little bit of all of those things, and I do kind of like that blend. I feel like it is very slow going so far, but I don't really mind that. I feel like this is the kind of story that you would expect to be a little bit slow moving, but I'm liking it a lot. I also really like that we're getting a couple of different POVs because we are primarily following August and Emery, but we do every now and then get different points of view from people on the island, and we're kind of getting little bits and pieces of information from them. The only thing that I don't really love about this book is the fact that it's in first person. I feel like it's just, I don't think I read a lot of books that are in first person anymore, so when they are, it is kind of like jarring. I do appreciate like the insight that that allows you to have into the minds of these characters. Obviously that's like a big pro for first person, but I don't know, I just don't love the fact that it's in first person, but that's honestly my only complaint with the book so far, because I am really liking it as of right now. Also, I did mention earlier, I absolutely love the writing. I also love the way that Adrienne Young is crafting the atmosphere of this island. Even though a lot of tourists do come to visit this island, you can definitely tell like this is a very close-knit, isolated kind of community, and it's interesting to see how they all interact with each other. I also do just like love a small town kind of atmosphere, so that's nice. But I also feel like Adrienne Young has a very lovely writing style. It's nothing over the top, but it's just like really nice to read, which I love those kinds of writing styles. But the more that I talk about it, the more excited I am to kind of figure out what's going on, because we have a lot of different players that are kind of in the story right now, and a lot of things that are coming up from our characters' past, which I also find to be quite intriguing. So I'll probably finish this up, I don't know, like tomorrow or something maybe, but I'll let you guys know my thoughts at some point in time. So I'm liking this a lot so far. But aside from that, I am here to end the video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a really just nice time this week, honestly. This was definitely the week of me listening to audiobooks and working on my blanket. Also, I know in the intro I said I was gonna play some Hollow Knight this week. Did not happen. That hobby did not win out this week, but that's okay. I'll get back into it at, you know, some point in time. But before I let you go, let me quickly do a little wrap up of all of the books that I finished in this vlog, which only 2, but like I talked about 4, so like we'll go over all of them quickly. The first book I read was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I honestly loved this book so much. I just thought it was such a fun read, and if you guys are in the market for like a cozy fantasy kind of story, I would highly recommend. I feel like the book itself doesn't really give like fall autumnal vibes, but I feel like it would be really good for August, honestly. I know I've talked about this probably in this video, but like I love matching books to months, and this book feels like an August book to me personally. Then I also finished up Foxglove by Adeline Grace. I am very excited to get into Wisteria and very excited to see where the story goes and how it ends. And then I managed to read one story out of Tales from the Perilous Realm. I definitely want to read the last 2 stories that are in here, and I might do that tomorrow potentially. I am really excited though, because I was talking about how earlier in this video I really wanted to do a Lord of the Rings reread, and I just recently put up the poll for my September Patreon buddy read, and I'm so excited because Fellowship was on there and it won, so I'm gonna get to do my Lord of the Rings reread. I bought these really nice illustrated editions of them because the current editions I have, they're fine, but I don't like the fact that they don't match, and it bothers me, honestly. But I'll show you those, or a couple of them, in my next video, and I'm really excited about them. I know I was talking last week about how I didn't want to buy like multiple editions of things, and here I am buying multiple editions of things, but like, I'm just a hypocrite. What can I say? But I'm excited about them. But that has absolutely nothing to do with talking about this book. I read one story, and I liked it. It was fun, and I'll leave it at that. And then the last book that I started was Spells for Forgetting, which, as I have just talked about for like 10 minutes, I'm really liking it. So those are all of the books that I read in this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I would love to talk about any of the books that I read in this video. Let's chat about any of them. Specifically, if you have read it, what did you guys think of Foxglove? I would love to know. I definitely have positive feelings towards it, but I don't think my feelings are quite as positive towards this one as they were towards belladonna, you know? But I'd love to chat about any of these books with you guys in the comments. Also, before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you guys are ever looking for more content from me, that is always linked down below. As I said earlier, we are going to be reading The Fellowship of the Ring for our September buddy read pick, and I'm so excited about it. It's gonna be so fun to talk with everybody about it, so yes. If you want to join, it's linked down below. But I've been having quite a chatty moment here for this outro, so I'm very sorry this is so long. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've had a really fun time this week, just kind of, you know, sharing everything that I'm doing with you guys, so I hope you liked it. Also, before we go, I would again like to thank Skillshare so much for sponsoring this video. I will leave a link down to them in the description, and the first 500 people that click that link will get their first month of Skillshare for free. That is a whole month of finding a new hobby that you could potentially love. But I think with that, that is everything, so I'm going to go. I really hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, or whatever day it is that you are watching this video. And I will see you in my next one. I'm so excited for my next vlog because it is like an actual fall vlog. I feel like this is like a fall adjacent vlog, but like I'm gonna be reading some cozy mysteries next week and it's gonna be so nice. So yeah, look forward to that because I certainly am. Anyway, I really need to stop talking, so I'm gonna go.